Good afternoon. Today's date is September 9, 2021. We have five subjects for today's episode. So, number one, the marriage age here in New York, evidence of conditional lawful permanent residence in the US, denaturalization efforts by USCIS, and the ongoing court hearings, whether it's will be followed accordingly or not. And lastly, I think that's a favorite topic for today, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So first of all, last July 22, the governor, then Governor Como, signed into law Nalia's law, that's how it's known now, wherein the age of legal marriage has been raised to 18. Previously, if you're 17, you could still marry with parental consent or court permission. But now the cutoff is 18, so until you're 18 years of age, you cannot be legally married here in New York. Now, also, the validity of proof or evidence of conditional residence has been extended to 24 months from the original or initial 18-month validity of such evidence. Let me explain to you what this is. There are some lawful permanent residents in the US by way of marriage, for example, or as an investor, wherein when you're granted or approved, your lawful permanent resident status in the US is actually conditional. And within a certain window or frame of time, you're supposed to file a petition to remove the condition. And during the pendency of that petition, you don't have the actual green card yet or the continued validity of your resident status in the US, such that the USCIS will issue a 751 notice, or the petition that you're filing as a conditional resident, or the 829 petition to remove the condition as an investor. And that should indicate the continuing validity of your conditional residence in the United States, which, as I previously explained, was initially valid for 18 months, but because of the delay now, they have extended it to 24 months. So if you file the 751 by September 4 or the 829, both are petitions to remove the conditions, either as a resident or as a resident as an investor. The initial validity of such evidence would be for 24 months. Now, how about those whose 751s or 829s have been filed before? USCIS was announcing that they will issue new notices to reflect the extended validity of such status, which is for 24 months. I just want you to know that. Now, also, USCIS took the effort to remind everybody, if you're a conditional resident and then you're traveling abroad for more than a year, you ought to file permission for or application for re-entry permit. That's I-131, so that you will not be deemed to have abandoned your permanent resident status in the United States also. Now, I just like to point out that previous to this, we discussed the possible consequences for those green card holders who are stuck abroad. Please refer to our previous episodes. Now, I believe this is episode 17, so I guess that refers to episode 15 or 16 in our channel. So please subscribe below and be on notice as to the prior discussions that we had in this series. Now, the third subject matter that we have are the court hearings. I have so many clients who have been calling us, inquiring about the court hearings that were previously scheduled and canceled. I've explained this earlier. I just like to reiterate and emphasize that the court hearings that we have been previously scheduled. Unfortunately, a good number of them have been canceled as well, and we're waiting for the next scheduled hearing dates to be issued by the immigration court. I could fully understand why this is happening. I could only take a guess that the court is overwhelmed also, just like the rest of us. There's a portal for the Executive Office for Immigration Review, or the court portal system. Unfortunately, what happened was that hearing dates were reflected in the said portal, but then taken off or canceled, and the new hearing dates were put back on notice again. and we're trying to follow all these changes electronically almost every day. Unfortunately, as well, we haven't received the pertinent hard copies of the notices of the said hearing dates. Obviously, because these hearing dates have been changing almost daily or weekly. In fact, for the month of September, 25 court hearings that were previously scheduled were all canceled, just to give you an idea as to how we try to grapple with all these changes. Now, another important fact that you have to know is that this is another matter. As of February 2020, the previous administration actually announced the creation of a new section or department within the USIS for the purpose of investigating or pursuing denaturalization cases in the United States. Now, some would say that being a citizen in the US is no longer that permanent, considering that if there are enough causes to do so under the previous administration, you could actually be denaturalized. Your citizenship could be revoked. Generally, under the law, denaturalization could be warranted if there was a misrepresentation. It is willful, material, and because of such misrepresentation, one was able to, or concealment even, one was able to acquire citizenship in the country. Misrepresentation could either be an active concealment, misrepresentation, or omission. In 2019, there was a budget for this office to do just that, which is alarming to a good number of people, but I just want you to be aware of that because it is an issue that we probably could be revisited if there's a change of administration, if there should be actual cases that could be filed in court for that purpose. Now, lastly, I guess the most favorite topic for the day is the Macy's annual Thanksgiving Day Parade. Today, the city just announced that there will be Thanksgiving Day Parade sponsored by Macy's. That would be the 95th since the inception or start of the said parade. So hopefully everyone will be up to date with what I could only foresee probable changes down the road depending on what's happening around us in terms of COVID. And in relation to this, I'd just like to share with you, unfortunate as it is, this week alone I have another teacher who passed away, and for the past 10 weeks actually to be exact, I know somebody whose family members also pass away directly or indirectly because of COVID. And on the average, that's just like one death a week, not to mention that I've been counting since May of last year. I almost know somebody or a member of their family that also passed away at least once a month. So it's very telling. I guess what I'm sharing with you, that all those numbers may be directly or indirectly related to COVID, but it could gives us an idea that we live in unusual times, and very unusual in fact to the point of being dangerous, especially for some people, a good number of people. So I just like to remind everybody to please follow the protocol. If possible, have yourselves vaccinated, or if not, try to minimize your exposure and try to stay safe. Stay safe everyone, and hopefully you'll have a nice weekend. Thank you.